Atlanta, Georgia, where tonight the Braves and the New York Yankees meet in Game 1 of the 1999 World Series here at Turner Field. Hi, I'm Bob Costas. We know you'll all be with us a few hours from now for the first pitch. So to whet your appetite, how about a look back at the 25 greatest moments in baseball history? Naturally, many of them are World Series moments, including our first one on the list as we count them down in inverse order. It's the 1947 World Series, Game 4 at Ebbets Field. Yankee right-hander Bill Bevins has been wild all day. In fact, he's walked 10 and given up a run, but he still leads 2-1, and he's got a no-hitter going with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Remember now, Don Larson's perfect game is still 9 years off. There's never been a no-hitter pitched in World Series play. Here's moment number 25, as called by Red Barber.
No hits by Bevins, 8 2/3 innings. Wait a minute. Stanky is being called back from the plate, and Lavaggiato goes up to hit.
Catch a no-hitter, though, in my first year in the big leagues would have been a thrill.
2 men out, last of the ninth. The pitch swung on. There's a drive hit out toward the right field corner. Hendrick is going back. He can't get it. It's off the wall for a base hit. Here comes the tying run, and here comes the winning run.
Pitch was up and away and hit it to right field. Tommy Hendricks said. Then 2 runs scored and we lost 3-2.
And has taken a police escort to get Lavaggiato away from the Dodgers.
To the 1986 ALCS, the Angels just 1 out away from their first ever World Series appearance.
To left field and deep and down he goes back and it's gone. Unbelievable.
Dave Henderson has come up with a 2-out, 2-run home run, and the Red Sox have turned the tables on the Angels and lead it 6-5.
You're looking at one for the ages here. Dave Henderson in obscurity in Seattle in August. Astonishing in October.
1941, down 2-1 in the World Series. Brooklyn a strike away from defeating the Yankees.
Casey gets by Henrik. It's all over. Pitcher starting his windup out there again. He's all ready now. Watch it. Here it comes. He swung, fouled the ball. Swung at the ball and missed it. The ball gets away from the catcher, and Henrik goes to first.
It's a spark that starts an explosive chain reaction. DiMaggio single. Keller doubles off the right field wall, scoring Hendrick and DiMaggio. Before the inning is over, the Yankees score 4 runs and win 7-4.
The Dodgers would never recover from that mistake, and the Yankees go on to win their 5th championship in 6 years. Moment number 22 finds the Royals finally getting past the Yankees.
Now Brett steps in. Gossie's ready to pitch.
I can look back and press the rewind button in my brain right now and tell you everything about the home run off Gossett.
Swinging a high fly ball. Deep right field. There she goes. Home run. Home run by Brett. And the Royals lead 4-2.
George Brett's a home run where you tip your cap, give it up to a great hitter, and I didn't want to give it up to him, but if somebody had to hit it off me, it was the guy that you had the most respect for.
When we finally did beat them, it was like, hey, we won the World Series. I tell you, it was a great feeling. It was very, very close, and I had won a World Series in 1985. Very, very close. The emotional impact of beating the Yankees and winning your first World Series, very, very similar.
4 years earlier, same 2 teams, same ballpark, but a different outcome.
Please do not throw bottles on the field. Throwing objects will endanger both the players and the spectators.
You're going into the 9th inning, and the game's tied up, and all of a sudden the fans are really getting into it, and they start throwing toilet paper and junk all over the field. So there's a long delay while the ground crew is cleaning up the field, and it's cold.
Mark Littell delivers high drive into right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees.
My biggest fear was falling down and having a lot of people on top of me, and I'm underneath them. And that was my biggest fear. So I got up real fast and and just hit it for the third base area, which they had, at that time, had probably stolen third base.
I remember running out in the field, trying to protect him towards home plate, because the people ran out in the field, there's fans everywhere, and I thought in my mind that he never would touch home plate. And so I was trying to kind of run interference for him, if you will, and it just was just total bedlam.
I just took a beeline to our dugout, and I ran about as hard and fast as I could to get into the dugout.
What a way for the American League season to end!
And a fine way to end our first segment as the Sporting News selects baseball's 25 greatest moments.
1985, a year of baseball milestones. Rod Carew collects hit number 3,000, and both Phil Niekro and Tom Seaver notch their 300th career victory. But the year's most notable milestone is number 20 on the Sporting News list, which we will relive after these messages.
These are great. I can't believe
17 is the strangest moment on the list, when Harvey Haddix experienced perfection and heartbreak.
A little bit better after putting on that kind of a performance, I'm sure.
Well, the performance don't count, for the team like this. We lost the ball game, and of course you can't feel too good about it.
There's the pitch. There's a fly ball deep right center. That ball may be on through and over everything. It is gone. Home run.
In the record books, Joe Adcock would have to settle for a double and 1 RBI for passing Hank Aaron on the bases. But none of that mattered to Harvey Haddix, who pitched 12 perfect innings and lost.
I did find out just last year from Bob Buell, who was a pitcher on the ball club with the Milwaukee Braves, that they knew every pitch was coming in the ball game. They stole them with a pair of binoculars. They had a guy sitting over here with a towel. And if it was a fastball, they didn't move anything. But if it was a breaking ball, they'd move the white towel. And it was very easy for those guys just to glance off of me right over there. And they still didn't get those hits.
The Subway Series, owned by the Yankees until 1955.
We were very close, but once you got on that field, you were enemies, but otherwise, we've had some great series with them.
The Yankees had beaten the Dodgers so many times in the World Series that we seemed to be always the bridesmaid and never the bride.
Johnny Podres pitching brilliant ball, 1 out to go. Elston Howard grounds to short. Reese throws to Hodges. Brooklyn wins, and the Dodgers go wild as they mob pitcher Podres, who hurls Brooklyn to its first World's Championship.
When we got on the bus to go to Yankee Stadium, Padres got on the bus and he said, "Just get me 1 run. That's all I'm going to need today."
You ever feel nervous out there? Oh, no, I felt good all the way. I was calm, and I was like a pro out there today, real pro. I was great, boy. It was just terrific, that's how.
It was a ticker tape. People were throwing things out of buildings, throwing confetti and what have you out of buildings, and it was the most wonderful trip back to Brooklyn that I ever experienced.
Next, a storybook celebration for baseball and Cal Ripken.
What began on May 30th, 1982, and continues September 6th, 1995. This game is now in the books. And let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr., has reached the unreachable star.
The crowd is calling for it. Now Palmero and Bonilla bring Cal out. They wanted to take a jog, I think. And there he goes. Passing a banner that says the house that Cal built. Well, maybe in a way he did.
It was exactly 6 years ago tonight that for only the second time in history, the World Series ended on a home run. Game 6 at Toronto's Skydome. The Phillies trying to hold on in the 9th and force Game 7. Their pitcher is Mitch Wild Thing Williams. Toronto's hitter is Joe Carter. The moment is number 16.
Joe has had his moments.
I mean, half the team, I said, I got my saddle on. I said, hop on. I felt this was going to be the time.
Here's the pitch on the way. A swing and a belt. Left field. Way back. Blue Jays win it.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions.
I saw Dave Henderson hit his home run against the Angels. Kirby Puckett hit his home run against the Braves. And to see how their reactions are, you know, going to first base and everything, pumping fists in the air, that's what you live for in baseball. And I got that chance to kind of do one better. I mean, it was total, pure joy.
Before Sosa and McGuire, there was Mantle and Maris in the home run chase of 1961.
And we were pulling for both of them. We didn't care who hit the home runs. It was great. You know, a lot of people thought Mickey and Roger were having fun. No, they were the closest friends.
Here's the windup. Fastball hits deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow.
You see how modest he was. He wouldn't even come out of the dugout. We had to push him out.
Fenway Park, another chapter in the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry, a one-game playoff for the division title.
Bucky has had his base hits against Boston pitching. Foul at the plate. Looks like Bucky fouled it off the foot or ankle that has been a constant problem for him all season long.
When I fouled the ball off my foot, I was concerned that it was going to swell up again, so I went back to the on-deck circle. At that moment, Mickey Rivers came over and said, hey, you're using the wrong bat. That bat's cracked.
You know, whatever bat he gave him worked, that's for sure. Mickey had a way of loosening things up, and he said, homie, take this one up with you.
Deep to left. Yastrzemski will not get its home run. A 3-run home run for Bucky. Then the Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
As I rounded third base, I can remember how quiet Fenway Park was. I mean, it was like an eerie feeling of quietness. It was like, hey, this guy isn't supposed to hit a home run.
Game 7 of the World Series at Candlestick Park. Yankees lead the Giants 1-0 with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th.
When I hit the double and Matty was running, I wanted to place myself in Matty's shoes because I would have scored some kind of way, or either Elson Howard was the catcher, we'd have had a little meeting at home plate because I might have hit him pretty good, or he might have hit me.
Matty Lou on third base, Willie Mays on second base, and my manager, Ralph Hout, went out to talk to Ralph Terry to decide whether or not to walk Willie McCovey and pitch to Orlando Cepeda.
I was surprised when they didn't walk McCovey. Left-handed hitter, right-handed pitcher, first base open. And I was hoping they walk him because I was so sure that he's going to go to first base. I was waiting, I was ready.
While they were talking, Kubek said, I sure hope McCovey doesn't hit the ball to you. And I said, why? And he said, well, you've already made an error in the series, and I'd hate to see you make one now.
There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over.
The thing I remember the most, the umpire right before the pitch said, hey, Richardson, can I have your cap for my nephew? So as soon as I caught the ball, I flipped the cap back to him, and that was it.
A line drive right straight to Bobby Richardson at second base. Had that ball got out of his reach, the Giants would have been the winner. Now it's the Yankees.
1977. George Foster clouts 52 home runs. Nolan Ryan strikes out 341. And rookie Bruce Sutter introduces the split-finger fastball to baseball to the tune of 31 saves. But we'll have the most climactic performance of the year when we return.
The countdown continues with number 12. Game 6 of the 1977 World Series. And Reggie Jackson earns his nickname, Mr. October.
I really felt like I was walking on air, just bouncing majestically through the space in Yankee Stadium. remember the guys pushing me out of the dugout to take a bow for my third call. You know, it's a time, a moment, a day that I'll never forget. And it's not like it was one moment. It was a whole night for me.
For today in New York's Yankee Stadium is Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day, and the National Pastime tenders him tribute reserved for sports immortals. Manager Joe McCarthy present a silver trophy, a token of esteem from Gehrig's own teammates. After which the Iron Horse is prevailed upon to step to the microphones for a brief and final word to the crowd.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. When you look around, wouldn't you consider it privilege to associate yourself with such a fine-looking man as is standing in uniform in this ballpark today? Might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
Game 7 of the 46 World Series between St. Louis and Boston. Enos Slaughter singles to start the Cardinal 8th.
It brings up Harry Walker. Slaughter is off and running with a pitch. Walker lines to hit to left center. Slaughter comes racing around to third. It's full speed ahead as he rounds third and straight for home. A blur of cardinal and white. The hustle of the Cardinals has scored. It wins the game in the series.
Say hey, there's still no World Series catch quite like this one.
There's a long drive way back in center field, way back.
When the ball was hit, I was playing very shallow. I didn't care who was playing pitching. I had that a knack of saying, you can't hit the ball over my head, just try it. I was very cocky, I guess, in those days. I just believed that I could catch anything that went in the air. When the ball was hit, I was running. As I'm running, now people say, how do you do it? As I'm running, I'm saying to myself, how am I going to get this ball back in the infield? Not catching the ball now. I had to get the ball back into the infield very quickly so only one guy could advance. And to me, that was the key to the whole thing, not the catch. The key of keeping one guy, you know, at one base.
And Willie Mays gave this crowd an unforgettable sight. The miracle catch-on works in the 8th inning.
If I miss that ball, it goes to the wall there. You got a sure trip, a possible inside park home run. It was a deciding play in the World Series, I felt.
Game 6, 1986. The Red Sox 1 out away from their first World Series title in 7 decades.
And that's hit to dead center with Henderson going to run it down. And the Mets are down to their last out.
I stormed into the clubhouse because I didn't want to see Boston having fun on our field.
Lined into left field, base hit for Carter, and the Mets are still alive.
We saw up on the board that Roger Clemens had shaved. He pitched that game with a beard, you know, a 5-day growth or whatever, and went in and shaved for the post-game interview.
And Roger Clemens hoping for that last out. Curveball, and that's going to be hit to center, base hit. And now suddenly with 2 out in the 10th inning, the tying runs are aboard, and Ray Knight will be the batter.
In all honesty, when they got the couple of hits there in front of me, I was hoping the guy in front of me would hit the home run. I don't think anyone wants to be the guy to fail in that situation.
And that's going to be hit into center field, base hit. Here comes Carter to score, and the tying run is at third in Kevin Mitchell. John McNamara goes to the mound. 5-4 Red Sox, and he's also going to the bullpen.
I'm sitting down in one of the chairs in Davy's office, and all this stuff starts transpiring in front of me. We got to run in. I can't leave this chair. There's one more out. And we lose the World Series. This is a lucky chair.
And here's Mookie. Fouled off.
It went to 2 strikes. And I kept fouling pitches off. I don't remember what the pitches were. I was just trying to, you know, trying to survive right there.
And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base.
Once the score is tied off the wild pitch, the pressure's off me, and it's just a matter now of making contact and hope it goes through.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
I remember the stadium, underneath the stadium, it was like an earthquake. It was just so deafeningly loud. And the rumble, I thought the stadium was going to collapse.
When the ball goes through his legs, you know, I don't hear the crowd. I'm thinking to myself, he missed it. You know, and I'm saying, I can't believe he missed it.
If one picture is worth 1,000 words, you have seen about 1,000,000 words.
Mark McGwire had gone Babe Ruth one better and stood even with Roger Maris. September 1998, Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Moment number 7 on the Sporting News list. Tonight, Mark McGwire set the single-season home run mark.
Matt McGwire looks on, wondering if this is the at-bat. Tuesday, September 8th, and Mark McGwire moves one place in front of Roger Maris.
I remember one thing that Reggie Jackson told me in 1987. He said, there's one thing I wish I had throughout my career, was a son that can watch me play. He never had it.
Tracks and lines in front. Big Mac. Swing and a shot into the corner. It might make it. There it is. 62, folks. It just got over the left field wall in the corner. And we have a new home run champion. A new assault of SWAT. It's Mark McGwire. Way to go, Matt.
You know, I gave up 50, a chance to hit 50 in 87 to be at the birth of my son. He's meant the world to me. You know, I can honestly say that my son has seen almost everything that I've done. And I'm so proud of it. And it's just, I love him to death.
Folks, it couldn't happen to a better man. And you will always know where you were at 8:18 p.m. Central Time, September 8th, 1998.
Exciting to accomplish what I've accomplished, touching to do it in front of all the Marises, touching to do it in front of my son, my family. You can't ask for a better script.
10 years earlier, Game 1 of the World Series, Kirk Gibson stuns the Oakland A's.
There's a guy that never even come out for the introductions. He laid on the rubbing table the entire game, and every inning I would go in to try to find out how he felt, because I wanted to know whether I could use him or not.
It'll be up to Davis to extend the inning to allow Gibson one last shot.
I wasn't even expecting him to hit, although we had went over him in our meetings. But I thought he was hurt, so he wasn't going to hit.
I got the bat boy, told him to set up the tee, told him to go get Tommy. And I just told Tommy, hit Davis third, and I'll hit for the pitcher.
When I went up there, he had his pants and shoes on and everything, and he said, hey, Skipper, he said, I think I can hit for you. Boom. I didn't even say anything because I didn't want him to change his mind, and I ran right out, and I said to the guys on the bench, change your plans.
And he won it. And look who's coming up.
And I had programmed myself to say, when you walk out of the dugout, 50,000 people are going to go nuts, and you won't hurt. And it doesn't matter if you hurt, because the game's on.
And with 2 out, you talk about a roll of the dice. This is it.
I threw him about 6, 7 fastballs in a row, and he was late on all of them. Hit a couple, almost a squibbler down the line, I recall. I probably wouldn't have remembered that little squibbler down the line if it wasn't like 6 inches away from an out. I picked it up and tagged him. If I had known there was a home run there, I would have dove for that thing. that ball went out of the ballpark, it was like everything slowed down. It was incredible looking back. Nobody was looking at me. The crowd, you know, it was like out-of-body experience. Nobody wanted to look at me, and I wouldn't look at me either. When people try to hurt me, they go, Gibson, Gibson, Gibson. And it's like, it's classic, you know? It was classic.
And now the only question was, could he make it around the base paths unassisted?
To this day, I can remember seeing the brake lights in the Dodger parking lot come on as the ball went out, as they all said, oh my God, I should have never left.
Moment number 5 is homer number 715.
He's sitting on 714.
Actually, if you look back, when I was playing, you know, they would say, who do you think going to have an opportunity, a chance to break Babe Ruth's record? That was Herman Killebrew, that was Mickey Mantle, that was Willie Mays, and I don't know who else. But then they said, oh, it's a fellow at Milwaukee that might have an outside chance.
Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
Circling the bases, I felt like I did it my way, how I wanted to do it, and the only sad thing about it was just so much controversy from other people. Babe Ruth was still fresh on their mind, you know, and blacks had not entered baseball at a full thresh. It was still, we were still really getting a foothold in baseball, you know. That was the hardest part, you know, just I couldn't do, and nor could I enjoy some of the things I should have been enjoying.
For the first time in a long time, that poker face of Aaron shows the tremendous relief. What a marvelous moment for baseball. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. And it is a great moment for all of us, and particularly for Henry Aaron.
I really felt proud of myself with the fact that my mother and father was in the stands.
There's a great picture of your mother embracing you just after you crossed home plate.
You mean bear hugging me? She really put a hug on me. It was something. It was funny. I couldn't figure out how she was going to get down. If I hit a home run, I said, now how is Mama going to get out of the stand? Somehow, in talking to my wife, Billy, she beat my wife down to the home plate. So she was determined. She had already mapped out her path in which she was going to get down there to hug me.
Well, I would just like to say, to all the fans here this evening, and I just thank God it's all over with. Thank you very much.
Game 6, 75 World Series. Fisk, Fenway, fair or foul?
Game tied, 6-6. Darcy pitching. Freddie Lynn on deck. There have been numerous heroics tonight, both sides.
And I'm on the on-deck circle with Fred Lynn. And I said, Freddie, I don't know, but I feel something good here. I'm going to hit one off the wall, drive me in. And he said, well, that sounds good to me.
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
I know I hit it way back if it stays fair. And so I'm trying to coax it to stay fair.
A lot of body English for Carlton Fisk. Watch it. How many steps did he take? One. He waits to see it. Get over. Get over. He knew it. There it is.
It was such a special moment, a winning moment, you know, and it's what kind of like American sports is all about. You know, this is what everybody would like to do. God, wouldn't you like to be Carlton Fisk? Hit that home run. Yeah.
Carlton Fisk get a 1-0 pitch. They're jamming out on the field. His teammates are waiting for him.
You know, and after that, it's almost like your mind just goes blank. It goes dull. You just everything kind of, the sounds are muffled, and you just make sure you touch every base, and you don't want to get too excited because you want to think that that's what you tried to do and the whole thing. And I'm coming around third base, and there's this one, I don't know, some guy jumps out of the stands and is like right in the baseline. And I wanted to get, you know, it's just like, don't get in my way, don't get in my way. And I almost give him a forearm shiver to the neck and, you know, ended up touching the plate.
The picture says it all. I tell you, one of the more dramatic home runs in World Series history.
When it did happen, you know, it was early in my career, and you think you may have a chance for moments like that again in your career. Well, as it turned out, that was the last World Series I was in. But to have it be recognized as one of the greatest moments in baseball, and maybe all of sport, puts the whole thing in perspective, and it kind of humbles you as a player.
1956, Mickey Mantle becomes the only switch hitter in history to win a Triple Crown. The Dodgers' Don Newcombe wins 27 games, earning him National League MVP honors and baseball's first Cy Young Award. But one moment that year remains one of a kind till this day. The memories continue after these messages.
They've been struggling at the plate, but there's a nice breeze blowing out towards right field.
From spring to fall.
Popped up and playable. Gracious. A perfect game by David Cone.
Earlier this year, with Don Larson in attendance for Yogi Berra Day at Yankee Stadium, David Cone added another page to his team's tradition. And in the immortal words of Lawrence Peter Berra, it was like deja vu all over again.
We kept saying on the bench, let's don't let this guy pitch a no-hitter against us, not in a World Series. But each time you go up there, you're trying a little bit harder to get a base hit. It's on your mind. Instead of concentrating on the pitch, you're thinking about, you've got to break up this no-hitter.
Don Larson is putting on the pitching performance of the generation. No Dodger has yet reached first base.
Well, it was okay until the 7th inning, and then I mentioned it to Mantle. You know, wouldn't be something 2 more innings to go. And then it got very quiet. It was like a morgue. You know, nobody would talk with me. I was by myself. The only time I was happy when I was pitching.
It was nothing. He stayed on one side, we were down on the other side from him. That's all. Just didn't pay attention to him. Might have woke him up if we told him something, you know. In the last inning, that's when the screaming, you get the first out, gets louder. Second out, gets louder. Now the third out, they all stand up, you know, like they do now.
Dale Mitchell up there was 2 away in the top of the 9th. Here comes the pitch. A strike call.
He pitched a great game. He was only behind on 1 hitter.
I'll guarantee that nobody, but nobody has left this ballpark. Here it comes. A swing on it. 2 strikes, ball 1 to Dale Mitchell. Look at this crowd. 2 strikes, ball 1. Here comes the pitch. Strike 3. A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larson. Yogi Berra runs out there. He weeps on Larson, and he's swarmed by his teammates. Listen to this crowd roar.
And, you know, when he called strike 3, it was like a balloon had burst. I can vaguely remember that Dale Mitchell turned around to argue, but there was nobody around. Yogi was jumping in my lap, and Babe had left, too.
I was the happiest man in my life, boy. I jumped on him. You saw how I had jumped on him. It's never happened. In a perfect game. That's the thing.
World Series no-hitter. A perfect performance by Don Larson.
Second on the list of greatest moments, Game 7, 1960 World Series, Forbes Field, Pittsburgh.
I forgot I was even on deck when the last out was made the inning before, and somebody yelled, "Measure up, you're leading off." I said, "Oh."
Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep to left. This may do it. Back to the wall goes Berra. It is over the fence, home run. The Pirates win.
I didn't know for sure if it was going out or not, but I knew Berra was in left field at the time. I knew he was not going to catch it.
A lot of people asked you were watching the ball going over the fence. I did watch the ball go over the fence, but I didn't think it was going to go out. I turned my back. I thought the ball was going to hit the fence because they had the vines on the wall out there, and it just skimmed over the vines.
So I was running hard going into second, and I looked down and saw the umpire give it this, and from second base to home, I don't think I touched the ground then.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Forbes Field to win the 1960 World Series.
Oh, we beat the Yankees. That's all I could think of. We beat the Yankees. We beat them. We beat them.
Here's the very happy Bill Mazeroski. What a trophy that'll make.
I enjoyed that. I was a Cleveland Indian fan, and the Yankees used to beat up on our Indians all the time, and it was good to get back at them once.
This is the face of erectile dysfunction.
Never die. They just fade away.
General Douglas MacArthur retired after 52 years of service. Marlon Brando screamed. I Love Lucy hit the airwaves. And baseball had one of the most stunning comeback stories ever.
Bottom of the ninth, and I never felt more depressed in my life. I thought 4-1, and I remember being the fifth hitter. I said, I won't even get a chance to hit.
But Newcomb had pitched a very strong game. You know, the eighth inning, I think he struck out 3 guys. I think I said, nice going, and I'll get them for you.
1 out, last of the ninth. Bracket pitches. Bobby Costas takes a strike call on the inside corner.
I had good stuff when I came in the game. I mean, the first pitch I threw Thompson was dead right through the middle of the plate, and he took it.
Franca threw the first ball right over the plate, and the guys told me later they wanted to kill me for taking that first pitch.
Brooklyn leads it 4-2. Hudson down the line at third, not taking any chances. Roxton without too big of a lead in second, but he'll be running like the wind if Thompson hits one. Franca throws.
I remember just getting a glimpse of it coming in. Ralph could throw the ball.
When he hit the ball, all I could say was sink, sink, sink.
After meeting all the guys at home plate, the people started to stream out of the stands, and my roommate, Whitey Lockman, boosting me up on his shoulders.
The Giants win it by a score of 5-4, and they're picking Bobby Costas up and carrying him off the field.
I don't remember walking from the mound to the locker rooms. The locker rooms were in dead center field, and they were like 485 feet away.
I was feeling very bad, naturally, feeling very bad sitting in front of my locker, and I transferred my feelings of disappointment and sorrow from losing that game to Ralph when he came into the clubhouse, because he was completely broken up, and he's saying, why me? Why me?
The fans had all congregated and outside the locker room, and I went out there. I remember Leo went out with me and waving to the crowd. They filled the whole outfield, and it was quite a moment.
Almost a half-century later, and that moment and Russ Hodges' call still resonate. The greatest moment in baseball history. Let's call the roll one more time.
There's a drive out for the right field corner. He can't get it. It's off the wall for a base hit. Deep and down he goes back, and it's gone.
He swung at the ball and missed it. The ball gets away from the catcher, and Henwick goes to first.
There she goes. Home run by Brad. And the Rose lead. Chris Chambliss hits a home run, and the Yankees win the pennant. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,100. That ball may be on through and over everything. Done. Home run.
And the Dodgers go wild as they mob pitcher Padres, who heralds Brooklyn to its first World's Championship.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
Joe Carter in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions.
Hit deep to right. It's put the in. Three-run home run for Bucky Jim. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2. There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over, and the World Series is over. That's going to be gone. Reggie Jackson has hit his 3rd home run of the game. Thank consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
With full speed ahead as he rounds third and streaks for home.
Behind the bag, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight.
There it is, 62, folks. It just got over the left field wall in the corner.
He is gone.
It's gone. 7:15. There's a new home run champion. You can see fair. Home run. A no-hitter, a perfect game for John Larson. Yogi Berra. One back to the wall goes Berra. It is over the fence home run. The Pirates win. There's a long flag. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant.
Small business software.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. Reggie Jackson got his third home run of the game.
Hannah Storm back in Atlanta. Earlier, Kodak invited you to rank your top 5 moments in baseball history by logging on to msnbcsports.com. Well, the voting continues, and here are the current top 5. It's only fitting that Atlanta Braves Hall of Famer Hank Aaron tops the list with Bobby Thompson's shot heard round the world. And great moments from Carlton Fisk, Mark McGwire, and Lou Gehrig round out the top 5. We've celebrated baseball's 25 greatest moments. We rejoin Bob Costas for the MasterCard All-Century team after this.
This November, the biggest movie events are coming to NBC with the untold story seen through her eyes, Mary, Mother of Jesus.
They were unveiled one summer night in Boston. The All-Century Players. A collection of the best baseball talent the sport has ever known. The game's living legends, honored in an unforgettable on-field ceremony. Fenway Park, transformed into a virtual field of dreams. Inspiring memories of those who could be there only in spirit. Mythic figures like Ruth, Robinson, and DiMaggio, making the surreal believable, bringing generations of heroes together. One place, one time. It's a team 100 years in the making, the most exclusive club in the history of sports. Baseball fantasy? Perhaps, but what a team. What a remarkable team. MasterCard presents the Major League Baseball All-Century Team. Hi, I'm Bob Costas, and this is Turner Field in Atlanta, site of Game 1 of the last World Series of the 20th century. In this century, more than 15,000 men have played big league baseball. Earlier this year, a panel of experts assembled by Major League Baseball selected the 100 greatest. Then, in balloting by more than 2 million fans worldwide, the best players by position were selected from this elite group. Following that, a blue ribbon panel added 5 more players to bring the total for the All-Century team to 30 all-time legends. This is an extraordinary team if ever there was one. So let's get right to it, beginning with the first baseman and the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig.
At the end of the century, people of my generation seem to know 2 things about Lou Gehrig. Long streak, died young. Those 2 things have overshadowed how prominent and how great a player Gehrig was.
Lou was just such a solid hitter. He did a line drive to the outfield, and he hits the squares like a knuckleball and come at the outfielder, and it was tough to catch.
Be sure to keep the arms free from the body, back, and ready to hit.
Lou's thunderous bat did, however, belie the quiet gentleman who swung it.
I call him a live and let live man. No violence about him. Even when he got knocked down, he took it. Lou treated it like sooner or later you'll have to throw the ball over the plate. And when you do, I'll cream you. That's the type of guy he was.
Lou played in 2,130 straight games, earning the nickname the Iron Horse. Then his career was cut short by an incurable disease.
You can't imagine that something like that would happen to a big, strong man like him.
And of course, Lou's farewell to baseball brought forth one of the game's most memorable lines.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
He's such a mechanically sound hitter. He's quiet when he gets locked back there. He's just focused. When the ball's in the zone, he just goes down. You see his legs flex a little bit, and he transfers his weight.
The 16th player in Major League history to hit 500 home runs.
We all love the big, powerful home run hitters, and in the modern game, Mark McGwire is that stereotype. He's a huge, strong, big guy that hits towering, long home runs.
Still, it wasn't until 1998 that Mark McGwire achieved Ruthian status.
You said it was unbelievable to be in the same sentence as Babe Ruth, but for our generation, you are Babe Ruth.
Well, thank you. I don't care where you're playing. That's just a tremendous feat. And it just, you're playing a little league ball, hit 7 home runs. That's a lot of home runs.
Number 70! How much more can you give us, Big Mac?
Coming up next, the all-century second baseman.
With Jackie, you can't lead the ball game because he might do something you've never seen before.
MasterCard presents. Now we turn to the second baseman, led by the man who broke baseball's color barrier. Jackie Robinson is, no doubt, the most influential member of the all-century team.
I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for him. His impact on the game was bigger than just a game. I mean, he had an impact on America.
When I got there, I said, you know, the one thing that I can do as a black player is to continue the fight that Jackie started.
He changed the way we thought, he changed the way we lived, and don't forget, he entertained us as a baseball player.
If Jackie Robinson would have come to the big leagues at the age of 20, 21, 22, like most of us did at that time, I mean, he'd have probably broke every second base record or wherever he played.
Jackie Robinson was probably the most disruptive player. When he got on base, he created havoc.
He took Negro League baseball to the Major League. He took that excitement, bunt the ball, first base, steal second, steal third, steal home. With Jackie, you can't leave the ball game because he might do something you've never seen before.
Rogers Hornsby is considered to be the greatest right-handed hitter of all time.
Hornsby's .358 batting average is the highest batting average by any right-handed batter in the history of the game.
As we come to the end of the century, no one will have hit for a 400 batting average for the last 58 years. Picture doing that once, and then being consistent enough to do it over a 5-year period.
As a hitter, Hornsby had an intensity unmatched by his peers. They say he never left his home in the winter, waiting for the spring, when he'd once again reemerge and amaze.
If not for Babe Ruth, you'd look back at the 1920s and say that was the age of Hornsby. Just a remarkable
player. Hard to imagine any second baseman that would be better than Rogers Hornsby.
We continue our trip around the horn with 3 superstar shortstops.
And let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
It's tough to play every single game, and at shortstop, what Cal Ripken has done without missing a game, I don't know if people understand how amazing that really is.
You get a shortstop that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. What an asset it is.
Cal Ripken was a big idol of mine growing up because he was a big shortstop. I think he paved the way for the taller shortstops of today.
Cal was just a great shortstop. Very knowledgeable on playing the hitters, very sure-handed, very, very accurate arm. There wasn't anything about the game that he didn't study to the nth degree.
Yet this most celebrated ball player prefers to be remembered as a blue-collar worker, one who just did his job every day.
There are a lot of great things about being a baseball player, but it doesn't change who you are. And I think that's one of the highest compliments you can pay someone, is if you say he's just a regular guy.
Chicago is the Wrigley Building. Chicago is my kind of town that won't let you down.
One thing I remember about Ernie, he loved baseball, loved to play. He wanted to play too every day.
When I think of shortstop, I think of a great band leader like Louis Armstrong.
He had soft hands. He got to the ball and seemed like every time he threw to first base, and it was often said, he just gets you.
He had great wrist, and if you threw him anything low, you know, he could hit it out of the ballpark.
That's the fly ball, beat the left, back, hey! Ernie Banks got number 500! Whee! Sunshine, fresh air, so let's play 2.
I think there's a little difference in baseball now between when I started out and what she is now. In other words, they ain't allowed to use the spitball, the emery, and the mud ball, and the shine ball.
But even those pitching tricks couldn't stop Hannes Wagner from becoming the first dominant player of the 20th century.
He was recognized as a magnificent fielder, base runner, and batter during his day. And to this day, is still widely regarded as the best shortstop in the game, and clearly one of the finest players to have ever played the game.
It is remarkable, and it's astounding because we're talking about years when the league batting average might have been 245, 248. People who saw him 20, 30, 40 years later would say he was the best player of all time, better than Ruth, better than Cobb.
Sometimes we have to defer to the judgment of the people who actually saw him play. And when they had the first Hall of Fame election, a lot of the voters in that election had seen Wagner play. And it's interesting that Wagner and Babe Ruth got exactly the same number of votes. That's a pretty strong statement.
Coming up next,
Swing and long drive, number 500!
the all-century third baseman.
Welcome back to the all-century team.
We now present the greatest third baseman of the 20th century. Mike Schmidt was a player for the ages. A lethal bat, a terrific glove. Third base was Schmidt's domain. He led the National League in home runs a record 8 times and won 3 MVP awards.
The combination of big-time home run hitter and great fielder is, you know, it's hard to find.
Right back and off the glove, and he will not. Mike Schmidt, what a play to get him!
As you're approaching 500 home runs, there's something about that number, you know, there's a lot of focus. It does put you in an elite group in terms of players.
The 3-0 pitch. Swing and long drive. There it is. Number 500. The career 500th home run for Michael Jack Schmidt.
I've seen him enough to know this. They're never going to tell me there's somebody better.
Baltimore embraced 1964 MVP Brooks Robinson for his artistry at third base, his down-home demeanor, and his desire to succeed.
I really and truly believe everything I accomplished was not all on ability. I just think my love for the game probably overrode everything else, and the passion to play.
I got to see firsthand how good a player Brooksy was. You know, the ultimate, I mean, defensively unparalleled. He had great reflexes, he had tremendous quickness, great hand-eye coordination, had a terrific glove.
I've seen some good ones, but I haven't seen anybody any better than Brooks Robinson. Brooks did things in the 70s series that maybe America had not seen.
When people think of Brooks Robinson, they think of defense more than anything else, and there's no doubt in my mind that 70s series really acted as a springboard for my entering the Hall of Fame.
He thrilled me day after day after day, and I just loved playing him.
From the hot corner to the backstop, here are the catchers.
If you have to pick at every position one great one, Bench is the greatest catcher that ever lived and ever will live.
He was just so smart. I mean, he could sit on the bench with me, and he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "No, I didn't see that."
I sit over here with Jonathan. He's smart.
Smart enough to revolutionize the way his position was played by keeping his right hand safely behind his back.
Well, I learned to do things that nobody else had been able to do because they'd always been two-handed catchers, and they'd take that brown glove and they'd stick it down there.
I thought Johnny had the best arm of any catcher that I've seen because of the way he threw the ball, and I think he came across his ear, across his right ear, very truly.
As great as Bench was behind the plate, he also had more than 2,000 hits, almost 400 home runs, and a knack for coming through in the clutch.
And a pitch to Bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Valenti. At the fence. She's
If you were going to build a catcher, I would use Johnny Bench as a blueprint. There was nothing that Johnny Bench couldn't do behind the plate.
Lawrence Peter Berra, known to everyone as Yogi.
For 18 years, Yogi Berra was the anchor of the New York Yankees. Though he certainly didn't look the part.
Yogi, first of all, if you look at him, you'd say, well, he's not a ball player. Well, he's only a Hall of Famer.
Yogi inspired fear in opposing pitchers because he hit almost anything.
Yogi was a bad ball hitter. You couldn't throw it too high and you couldn't throw it too low.
I saw the ball good. A lot of people ask me, how come you hit so many back? To me, they look good when I hit them. I played 17 years with them. I was in 14 of them. And we won 10 World Series, and I was just born at the right time.
And the Yankees are champions. And look at Barrow. Piggyback riding Bob Costas.
On everything he did, he had more impact than most other players do, and certainly out of proportion to the numbers he left in the book.
Coming up next, the all-century pitchers.
He would tell you. He said, here it comes. It didn't do anything but just go up. I couldn't hit it.
To Turner Field, site of Game 1 of the 1999 World Series. Here, once again, is Bob Costas.
Over the past 100 years, thousands of men have stood on a mound and tried to throw a small white ball past a man standing 60 feet 6 inches away wielding a wooden bat. Some of them have done it so overwhelmingly well that they become legends. They become, in fact, at century's end, members of the all-century pitching staff. Let's begin in the fast lane with the Express.
Every time you faced him,
You know what's coming. You hear it coming.
To me, that mound's your mound, and that's your territory, and you want the hitter to know that you look at it that way, and it's the hitter against the pitcher. You don't want to ever give them the thought that you're not confident in what you're doing.
He struck him out swinging. Strikeout number 5,000.
He warmed up one game and came in the dugout and came over to me with a pale look and said, "This might be the end." And Nolan went over and was wiping his face before he went out on the field. And he said, "Have somebody ready quick." You know, I had a real bad feeling in my stomach, thinking that I was going to have to be there when he walked off the mound for the last time, and I always worried about that. He threw no hitter that day.
That's it. Number 7 is in the books. The remarkable Ryan has done it again.
When you think about all the great players that played in this century, to be put in that category is very special, and there's a lot of those hitters I would have loved the opportunity to face, because I think it had been a real challenge.
The day I wasn't pitching, I used to sit down just to watch him. His fastball and his breaking ball, his overhand curve, he was the master.
He stumped the best, even when they knew what was coming.
I knew it. He would tell you. He said, "Here it come." And the ball would get there and go up. It wouldn't go, it didn't do anything but just go up. I couldn't hit it. It start here, go up.
And you almost felt like he could pitch a no-hit game any day he walked out there. Some pitchers go out there, they don't have their good stuff. Well, I never saw a day that Koufax didn't have good stuff.
1 strike away. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. A perfect game.
Sandy was almost perfect in 8 World Series games, with an earned run average that was, incredibly, below 1.
You've had 4 no-hitters, a perfect game. Where does this one fit in as far as thrills are concerned?
I don't know, Vinny. This has got to be as high as any of them. This whole year is a thrill.
He won 129 games in 6 years, 27 his final year, before arm trouble ended his career.
He was the pitcher of that decade, maybe, I mean, any decade, really.
Bob Gibson probably was the best competitor I've ever played against. He gave no quarter, did not like talking to the opposing team.
Gibson wouldn't say a word. I go over to him, "Hi, Bob, how you doing?" "I don't know. I'll let you know tomorrow." And you knew that tomorrow I didn't want to play.
The pitch coming, a swing and a miss. He struck him out. And that's 3,000 for Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson could throw a fastball or a slider on any count in an area about twice the width of a baseball on the outside part of the plate, just above the knees.
68 just happens to be the year that everything came together. And yeah, I was in a zone.
In 1 game.
Gibson excelled in the Fall Classic. He won 7 consecutive World Series games and pitched 8 straight complete games. So who would he pick as his all-century starter?
It would be me. I picked myself first.
Cy Young pitched from 1890 to 1911, and he pitched like no man since.
The number of games and innings pitched, number of wins, his numbers are just mind-boggling.
Denton True Young was named Cy, short for Cyclone, due to his windup. That cyclone wreaked havoc on the record books.
The classic example is if you win 20 games for 20 years, you'll be 111 wins short of Young's record.
511 wins is just, it's amazing.
The ultimate measure of Young's greatness is that his name is on the mind of every pitcher in baseball when they take the mound each spring. Their quest, after all, is to be the winner of the Cy Young Award.
At the end of the show, once the all-century team has been selected, Major League Baseball and MasterCard want you, the fans, to name the starting lineup. Just log on to MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the official website of Major League Baseball, to vote for your starting lineup. The fans' starting lineup will be announced during Game 4 of the World Series, right here on NBC. Welcome back to the All-Century Team.
We now continue with the greatest pitchers of the century. They called him the Big Train, Walter Johnson, and he was unquestionably one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Maybe the best.
If you've had the privilege of seeing old clips of Johnson throwing, it's amazing that he could pitch over 90 miles an hour with that easy sidearm motion. But because it was so easy and so deceptive, batters at the time said that all they could do was hear the ball as it whistled past their bats. It just kind of exploded.
This amazing achievement will probably never be approached. Johnson has more shutouts than the top 3 active shutout leaders combined.
Walter Johnson, as far as I'm concerned, was the greatest pitcher in baseball history.
In my opinion, and the opinion of many others, he accomplished more for his teams than any pitcher in the history of the game.
Physically, I'm going to try and beat you. If that fails, my mental part of the game takes over. And if that is all falling apart and that's not happening, my emotions come into play. And I've been emotional times on the mound. I'm trying to elevate my game.
Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game. 20. Here's the 2-2 pitch. He struck him out. That's 20 on the night for Roger Clemens, who has tied his own record.
He's one of those guys that you really want to get him because all the intensity in the game, but then you feel so frustrated because you can't.
Roger Clemens becomes the 11th Major League pitcher to hit the 3,000 mark.
When you win an individual award like that, it's really not an individual award. I had a lot of guys make me look good and make me shine.
Lawrence Spahn was pretty special. A stylish left-hander. If anybody ever fit that description, it was Spahny. Not only with the array of pitches that he threw, but he had a classic wind-up and a great pickoff move.
Spahn was by himself, you know. He won 363 games, and he won 20 games 13 years. You know, that's almost unheard of.
Though he didn't get his first win till age 25, Spahn pitched for more than 2 decades. And with each passing year, his resolve grew.
When I got to be an advanced age, my ball club was thinking in terms of replacing me with a younger left-hander, so it kind of spurred me on. Baseball was so good to me that I had the opportunity to play in the big leagues for 21 years. I wouldn't want to play in any other era than the one I did. We had fun playing, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Lefty Grove could throw hard. He had a good fastball. We pitched against each other, and I lost to him 1-0. It was an honor. I enjoyed it, every bit of it.
Lefty Grove was the most revered and dominant pitcher of the 20s and 30s.
Lefty was one of a kind. He was overpowering and such a vicious competitor.
They talk about 100 miles an hour. I think he threw that ball 200 miles an hour. It looked like a pea coat up there.
Lefty Grove won 9 ERA titles in an era which was very heavy on offense, where entire teams batted 300 in the 1930s.
If I was going to pick one left-handed pitcher In baseball, he's the best I have ever seen.
Christy Mathewson was the first great superstar of the 20th century. Because he had gone to college, he'd been an All-America football player at Bucknell, because he was tall and good-looking and blonde in an age in which photographs were becoming increasingly important in American society, Mathewson made the game respectable.
His speed and pinpoint control made Christie the National League's top pitcher in the early 1900s, a fact his numbers reflect.
You look at the 373 wins, a phenomenal total. You look at the complete games. He completed, I think, over 80% of every game that he started. He threw 390 innings in a season and walked only 42 men. He started 11 World Series games. He finished 10 of them. His ERA in the World Series was 1.15.
And in 1905, Mathewson dominated a World Series like few men since.
So Christy Mathewson was somebody everybody looked up to, and somebody who delivered on his expectations almost every time he took them out.
Coming up next, the all-century outfielders.
In the minds of us that play baseball, Hank is the king. No, he'll always be the king.
Elevator to lobby. By George.
Contacts, $320. Treadmill, $800. Wonder Bra, $26. Facelift, $3,000. Being happy with who you are, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Happily accepted, most everywhere.
We now return to Turner Field, just hours away from the start of the last World Series of the century. Here again is Bob Costas.
You know, there was no greater challenge than choosing members of the all-century team outfield. Some of the greatest names in the game's history have graced outfields from Fenway to Candlestick. May it rest in peace. But when it came time to make these selections, there was one name folks had no problem with. Because in the lore of baseball, no name carries greater weight than the Babe.
Every time you mention baseball, it's Babe Ruth. I mean, he captured the imagination of baseball fans, of non-baseball fans throughout the world.
I'll tell you right now, 1,000 years from now, they'll still talk about Babe Ruth. He's the first one that ever hit 60 home runs.
He was the most tremendous player this game ever had.
Twice in Ruth's career, he hit more home runs than any team in the league. I think that's the most benumbing statistic in any sport.
Babe Ruth ushered in a whole new era when he introduced power on a grand scale to the grand old game.
People had never seen a ball hit so hard, never seen a ball hit so far, and he did it with such tremendous flair.
He became the biggest name in all of baseball. No, better make that any sport.
I just hope that fathers will keep on telling their sons, once upon a time, there was a baseball player named Babe Ruth. And he was a great baseball player and a great guy.
In the American mind, Babe's still the king. But in the minds of us that play baseball, Hank is the king. No, he'll always be the king.
There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
I don't say he was the best home run hitter. I say he was the best hitter.
Think about how many hits he has. 3,700 and some odd hits, right? You take away the 755 home runs he hit, and he still got 3,000 hits.
Lost sometimes in his home run heroics is the fact that Hank Aaron could do it all.
I don't think everybody realizes how well he could play the outfield, how he could steal a base when you needed to have a base stolen, how he could get a base hit when it just required a base hit and a home run wasn't the thing. And I think that he was a better all-around player than people realize.
And the thing about him is he's smart. See, I don't think people understand how smart Hank was. I mean, he knew all the time what was coming. He knew the umpires. He knew the catchers. I studied the game. I could tell you at the end of the season, if I hit 40 home runs, who I hit those 40 home runs off of, what situation it was. Baseball was a 24-hour job to me.
There was only one player I think that the whole world wanted to be like, and that was Willie, because Willie did everything.
Nobody gonna see a player better than Willie Mays. He's the guy that was gonna do every little thing to beat you.
There's only 5 things you can do to be great, and that's hit with power, run, field, and throw. Mays could do it all.
It amazed me the way he played the outfield. The easy floating out there, it looked like nothing was an effort.
There's a long drive, way back in center field, way back, it is.
He's the guy you see when you envision baseball, you close your eyes, you see Willie Mays.
Baseball's a fun game, and Willie played it like he was a young boy and having fun, and that's why he was such a good ball player.
I like to be remembered as a guy that loved what he was doing, and I love playing baseball.
As far as I was concerned, I was happiest when I put on the uniform and played baseball.
And for 22 seasons, Stan the Man played it as well as anyone. He was known for his ever-present smile and for one of the sweetest swings in the game.
The rookies who came to spring training, they would ask me, I was always smiling all the time and enjoying myself. And I used to tell these rookies, it's a great feeling when you know you're going to hit 340, 350 before the season starts.
To tell you how good he was, I said, Stan, how does the ball look to you coming to the plate? He said, it looks like a grapefruit. I said, it looks like an aspirin tablet to me.
Coaches in baseball said he would never hit with that stance he had because it was so unique and so different.
I wanted to guard the plate and the strike zone, so I crouched over it somewhat.
Line drive, there it is! Hit number 3,000!
Of around 14,000 players who played Major League Baseball in this century, only 4 of them rank among the top 20 in each of the Triple Crown categories. Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, and Lou Gehrig might be easily guessed. The 4th is Stan Musial.
The magnificent Yankee, the great number 7, Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle was a 3-time most valuable player. During his 18-year tenure with the Yankees, they won 12 American League pennants and 7 World Series.
Mickey Mantle had more physical ability than any player I ever saw. I think Mickey made the comment that if he'd known they were going to make such a big deal out of the 40-40 thing, he would have done that, and he certainly could have. He had the speed to do it.
He had power. He could hit the ball, boy, pretty good both ways, left and right.
I hit long home runs. When I hit the ball good, it was a home run. My longest balls were left center, right center, and dead center.
There's a fly ball out to right field. That ball is going, it is gone.
Who knows what Mantle might have achieved had his legs withstood the test of time.
I've always said that Willie Mays is the greatest player I've ever watched, with one exception. If Mantle would have had 2 good legs, I might have been saying that about him.
Coming up next,
You will never stop him from coming after you.
4 more all-century outfielders.
This is the face of erectile dysfunction. So is this.
Welcome back to the All-Century Team.
We now continue with our look at the greatest outfielders of the past 100 years.
They throw in where I'm swinging, and I'll be swinging, might mean the old ball game. If I give myself one bit of credit, it was that I thought about what I had to do as much as any hitter.
He studied baseball, he studied hitting, and he knew it from here to there, A to Z. You could hardly ever fool him.
I was worried about just hitting the ball hard. And I knew if I hit the ball hard, I had a hell of a chance.
And we can't forget that Ted lost 5 of his prime seasons to military service.
All the opposing players would come out of the locker room just to watch him hit. I mean, that's how good he was. He just had a swing that he just perfected.
You couldn't try to sneak a fastball by Ted, even though we were throwing over 100 miles an hour. It was like trying to sneak a sunbeam by a rooster. You can't do it.
There was something special about Ted Williams, and to me, he was the most outstanding hitter that I ever saw.
He wore the Red Sox uniform for 22 years. He was the last man to hit 400 in a season. The greatest hitter that ever lived, Ted Williams.
Just putting on the Yankee uniform, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, I was proud.
I seen DiMaggio for 5 years. He never did anything wrong. He was a perfect ball player.
Did you ever see Joe hit? He was very difficult to strike out. You seldom fooled him. Quick reflexes and great wrists.
That is the most remarkable and heroic feat because it has something of the everyday as well as the Superman. Here's a guy who shows up for work every day and does what he's asked to do. He's supposed to get a hit, and he does it.
Joe DiMaggio was the complete ball player. He played hard every day. For him, it was the only way.
He could throw, he could run, he could hit and hit with power. I made it look easy.
I played over 10 years with him, and I never saw him make a mental error. Well, everything he did was Mr. Perfection.
In order to win in the big leagues, you've really got to be a strong competitor. If you're not a strong competitor, you're gone.
There was no more fierce competitor in baseball, or maybe anywhere on the planet, than Tyrus Raymond Cobb.
Ty Cobb was a player that did everything hard. As soon as he got his uniform on, he was a different man.
A very driven individual. One of these people that you see once or twice in a generation, a ball player that gets the max out of his potential, out of his body.
Nowhere was that more evident than when Cobb was on the bases.
When he'd slide into a base, he'd try to hit the second baseman. He'd try to run right into him with his legs.
He really baffled the baseman, I think. They didn't know exactly what he was going to do.
Today you see a graphic that says, you know, this player has batted .350 over his last 5 games. Ty Cobb batted .366 over a 20-year plus career.
To win the batting crown 9 years in a row is probably one of the most difficult and, in today's world, underappreciated feats. He was generally considered to be the greatest baseball player of that era.
What made Pete Rose so tough was this. If you hurt him, and he's laying down there, and he isn't breathing, right? And the coroner says, he's dead. That's a bad thing that coroner just said.
I mean, this guy, I can remember when he'd get base hits up the middle, singles, diving into second. Or a walk, he ran hard to first. And I'd hear players on my own bench, Charlie Hustle, my Fanny. And you know what I'm thinking to myself? Everybody should play like that.
There's just something about Pete, and you look at him going, he's going to be a damn tough guy to beat.
Pete was so consistent, it was unbelievable. I mean, each year, 200 hits, 200 hits, 200 hits.
Because of his durability, because he knew he was going to play almost every game, knew he was going to make contact probably 4 times a game, he actually thought he could break the record.
There are 4 active players among the 30 on the All-Century team. We've already mentioned Cal Ripken Jr., Roger Clemens, and Mark McGwire. But the 4th is the most intriguing, because this guy still has a good portion of the next century in which to build upon what he's already done.
just want to be the best player that I can be, not what they think I should be or who I can be. I just want to be Ken Griffey Jr.
You don't want to take this guy for granted. That's how good he is. I see him crash against the walls, hit 500-foot home runs over and over again every night.
I've never seen a player that makes things look so easy at times. Just simple.
He had it all the way.
Makes it look easy.
He just kind of like floats and just glides through the ball and just have a very fluid swing. And just like, oh my God, this guy's sick. He makes me sick.
And Griffey hits it a mile.
Then I've always said that if it's anybody that's capable of breaking a record, my record, it would be him because of his consistency, and he's young enough to do it.
If Hank Aaron thinks he can, then obviously who are we to quibble?
Griffey going back over his shoulder, makes the catch.
If you're a good hitter, you'll stay around 4 or 5 years because you can hit. But guys who make careers out of this are the guys who go out there and play defense.
Leaps high in the air, and he's got it.
He'll do something, and you just kind of look at it, and your mouth will drop open, and you're almost in disbelief.
Amazing catch by Junior.
If it's hit and Junior can't catch it, well, it can't be caught.
Incredibly, still in his 20s, Griffey is the youngest member of the All-Century team. A state-of-the-art player, one for the ages and beyond.
Griffey might become the first player to make 2 All-Century teams, the 20th century and the 21st century.
Who knows what the next century will bring, but this one has brought us players and memories to last a lifetime. Man, there's some history for you, huh? But in a way, that's part of the problem. Baseball's history is so long and rich that it's impossible to include every deserving ball player on a 30-man team. As a member of the panel that helped select the team, it pains me that Tom Seaver, Satchel Paige, Bob Feller, Steve Carlton, and Greg Maddux aren't on the pitching staff, that we couldn't find a spot for George Brett at third or Jimmy Fox at first, that the greatest slugger of the Negro Leagues, Josh Gibson, isn't one of the catchers, or that the outfield doesn't include Roberto Clemente, Frank Robinson, or Shoeless Joe Jackson. Their omission from this squad doesn't mean for a minute that they're not among the very best who have ever played the game. Well, we hope you enjoyed this look at the All-Century team, and I know I'll see you back here at 7:30 Eastern Time for Game 1 of the World Series. Joe Morgan will join me from here at Turner Field for the call. Until then, so long, everybody.